Dagoretti, but we are hearing the work that is happening in Githunguri. We are challenged, we are inspired, and Honorable Gathoni, you are doing good for women leadership in this country. Beyond that, the people of Githunguri need to appreciate that you are a good representative in the House. This is not your first motion, Honorable Gathoni, and we want to congratulate you for such a thoughtful motion that you have presented before this House. Honorable Speaker, me and you were in class at the same time in university. And among the many things that we learned was the history of education. And when we studied the history of education, we were able to appreciate the need for school uniform and how it came to be that students wear school uniform. One of the reasons was, of course, standardization. The other one was identification. But more importantly is the effect of the war effort on standardizing industries. Madam Speaker, back then, earlier on in the last century, young students were being prepared for the market that was available then. And back then, we were going under the industrialization revolution. At that time, we were talking about the coming of what you call a production line that was standardizing the operations in a factory. Madam Speaker, it's a century later, and we still have a debate on uniforms, Madam Speaker. Uniforms do bring pride in belonging. They also institute discipline among the wearers of these uniforms. But now, Madam Speaker, we have gotten to a point where uniforms have become a tool for magnifying the class divide, not only in schools, but also in a republic, Madam Speaker. Especially in a republic like Kenya, where the divide between the public schools and the private schools is too big. Madam Speaker, you have just recognized some students who are sitting in the Speaker's gallery. And I see them wearing school uniform, Madam Speaker. One day, it was an afternoon in 1987. I was much younger than the students who are sitting in the gallery today. I had been picked up, Madam Speaker, as one of the 4 students who were going to represent Kileleshwa Primary School in a program called Junior Quiz. They would take the brightest students who would go and take a quiz on TV, and they were supposed to represent our division then. Back then, we were not in Dagoretti, we were in Westlands Division. And on the day I was supposed to go to the studio, Madam Speaker, it was recognized by the teacher that the pants I was wearing, the school shorts I was wearing, could not go to the studio, Madam Speaker, because I had 2 big eyes on my behind, Madam Speaker. The short that I was wearing was long, tired, it was long torn, it was long out of service. Because my parents could not afford to buy me another pair of pants, Madam Speaker. It was embarrassing. I remember we had to go to the house of a student who was living near. His name was Eddie Wanje. And wherever he is in this country, I have to thank Eddie Wanje because he was able to give me some pants that I was able to appear on TV. For the first time in my life, when I appeared on TV, I appeared in borrowed pants, Madam Speaker. But the point I'm making is that uniforms can actually be a tool for exaggerating the class divide among our students, Madam Speaker. You can imagine what a 9-year-old felt when they were told you cannot be admitted to studio in the pants you're wearing, knowing that it is not your fault. It is my parents who could not afford a new pair of shorts. And the embarrassment of having to go to a friend's house, change before you get onto the vehicle that was taking us to VOK then, the KBC studios. Madam Speaker, the standardization and production of uniforms is a debate that is timely. To my mind, Madam Speaker, if we could get to a level where the Ministry of Education rationalizes school uniform, each and every constituency in Kenya, 290 of them, can be able to put up a factory in their constituency. That factory will be constituency run. It will be the parents of the students who are taking children to school who will be running this factory. Madam Speaker, organizations like churches, non-governmental institutions, our churches, Madam Speaker, we only use them one day in a week. The churches that we built, We spend millions and millions of shillings building brick and mortar of monumental buildings that are not used from Monday to Friday. What about, Madam Speaker, if we standardized our uniforms and